The Auburn Tigers dominate the line of scrimmage and get a big win in Lexington, Kentucky over the Wildcats. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Yes, sir. Auburn family up tempo gang. We talked about it Thursday, Blake. We said, let's come back here. Let's have a victory Sunday pod. Blake said, I might be the only one, but I believe, damn it. Blake, you were right, buddy. We go up there, get a big win. I think Keldrick Falk said it best in his post game. Dominated the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive line. When you do that in this conference, especially on the road, you're going to win the football game, man, if you do everything else right. Big fourth quarter, 4 down, stand there on the goal line by the defense. Kay and Lee finally making a play. Man, what are your thoughts on Auburn finally coming up here and pulling one out and getting a big dub?
My thoughts are this team hasn't quit. This team still believes that they're a good football team. This team still believes that they can win SEC football games. This team is still competing at a high level. And look, I know Kentucky isn't great. All right, they're on a kind of a downward spiral right now, and that's what I said Thursday night is which way is both of these programs headed right now? Because I know Auburn's losing, but I said it's not like we've been getting blown out. You know, we let the one against Georgia at Georgia kind of get away, but we haven't been getting just absolutely beat to death. It's been close losses that are self-inflicted wounds is the reason you're losing these games. And I look at Kentucky and I just felt like they were in a downward spiral, man. Their quarterback position is, believe it or not, far worse than Auburn's. When you look at that, what we watched last night, it is far worse than Auburn's. And I looked at their defense and I said, hey, I feel like their run stats are very inflated. And I don't think that's the truth about their defense. That's the reason I said I think if Auburn wants to win the football game, I think they need to lean on 27, and it'll make Peyton's life a little easier in Lexington. And Jarquez Hunter had the game of his Auburn career. I mean, I want to give huge props, a huge shout out to 27 because he's just another guy that stayed with us when we were down in the trenches and we couldn't get up and we're losing. And he said last night, hey, man, I was tired of losing. I told Coach, we're going to find a way to win this game. And he did it on his back. Everybody got on 27's back. It didn't matter if it was in the run game. We were throwing it to him last night. He was 3rd and 9 and breaking a tackle to get the first down. Absolute hell of an effort from 27. And I can't thank him enough, man. Just being a senior and still fighting, being a 2-5 football team and still fighting to try to turn this thing around for the Auburn Tigers and head coach Hugh Freeze. Mad props to 27 and mad props to this defense, man, for standing up, like you said, making a play. About 5 minutes left to go in the game. You're up 2 scores. Kentucky gets the ball down on your 1-yard line, and Kay and Lee makes one heck of a play. And you know, stepped out of bounds and still had a little fun with it. And DJ Durkin showing his wheels and hawking Kay and Lee down into the end zone and having fun. That right there tells me that this team still believes that they can accomplish something this season. They can get hot. And I told you Thursday night, Diego Pavia, this is the one I want Saturday. This is the one I want. They just played a heck of a game against Texas. They're probably a little beat up. We're on a high right now with a big-time win on the road. We get Diego Pavia at home Saturday. Boy, I'm ready. There's a lot of payback that we need to get because that get back, I want it to be real. Diego come in with New Mexico State and embarrassed us. It's time for the get back. And I like what Auburn's defense is doing right now. So I'm confident, Dustin. I'm confident. I wasn't 4 weeks ago, but after last night, I'm confident that we're still playing for something. There's still a chance to go to a bowl game. And there's still something on the table left for this team. They're still fighting, man. That's why I'm proud this morning.
Yeah, when we went down 10-0 to start the game, with the amount of demoralizing losses this team has had, and you could make the argument that last week's loss to Missouri was the worst of them all. They could have mailed it in. It felt like a moment where I was definitely sitting on my couch wondering, okay, are they about to quit? Like, is this going to be the moment where they give up? And from that moment on, they just dominated the football game. You know, Keldrick Falk with 2 sacks, just continuing to have the incredible season that he's having. Seeing these young guys and Falston make plays. Kay and Lee, obviously, with the big stop there at the end. It's Crawford, like, absolute dog getting his first career pick.
Yep.
He's probably, yeah. Am I wrong in saying this, Blake, that over the last, let's say, 3 weeks, Keldrick Falk and Jalen Crawford are the top 2 most consistent, probably best players on defense?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say hands down. Those two, like, my big thing with Crawford last night is how big was that pick with what was going on in the game?
Mm-hmm.
In the moment, looking for momentum. That was a huge pick. We were talking about it. You said, hey, man, like, D's got to stand up right here. D's got to make a play. We got to put ourselves in position to keep this thing rolling because we got some momentum right now. And then, bang, Crawford makes a play. This defense, man, I'm telling you, let Durkin keep getting his guys in there. And everybody wants to keep talking about the recruiting class falling apart. I don't think so because these young guys, they're seeing it right now. It's all babies out there making plays, man. The puppies are growing up. Maybe next year we can get to call them dogs. Dustin.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see right here on the picture, man, DJ Durkin. You think DJ was excited for the defense to finally step up and make a play?
Yes.
I mean, it just, we've seen all season long, and again, it felt like it. And there were still moments in this game where it felt like it was going to go the route that it's been going all season. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking now Kentucky's, they ain't drove the ball since 8 minutes ago in the first quarter. And this is going to be the time that they drive the ball. And they get all the way down there to the goal line for that defense to stand up. 4th and goal, I'm definitely just wondering, how are they going to score here? Like, that's just the way we've been programmed to think this year. And Kay and Lee, who dropped the crucial one versus Cal, stepping in front of it, man, making a big play. It's just I'm really proud of these guys. I think that you are seeing these young guys that have been playing so well grow up. Eugene, it says he only had 3 tackles. I felt like he was much more involved in that. I know he definitely made some big plays. I felt like it was one of his better games. He was more active than he has been in about a month or so. Another solid game from Caleb Harris, man. Just that the entire defensive line, really. And then what I thought was interesting was Kentucky even talked about this, and they talked about it. The announcers talked about it. I think Hugh made mention to it during one of the interviews. But Kentucky was almost kind of daring Auburn to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there wasn't a loaded box that Auburn's kind of been accustomed to seeing. And Auburn just said, okay. Now, I don't know if that's because Kentucky felt like their defensive line was stout enough that they didn't have to load the box. They would just be able to stop the run. And I mean, they would had a strong performance versus Georgia. Like, there's a reason why they should think that way. But also I watched Florida run it down their throat last week. I think that they've got some injuries there, and I think the depth's starting to kind of hit them hard. And in the way we talk about Auburn not quitting despite being 2-5, I think you saw a 3-4 team last night. Kentucky just kind of not have the juice when it got down to it, and they certainly didn't look like they wanted to tackle us, Blake. They didn't want to tackle 27, but they didn't want to tackle Damari. They didn't want to tackle our wide receivers. I mean, Cam Brown, big 3rd down catch where he's able to move the chains, man, ran through some bodies and was able to move the sticks. I'm just so impressed with this team's ability to look, when McPherson goes down there, you're in a 3rd and 7. For some reason, you run Wildcat with Peyton Thorne at running back. You bring him in a sweep, and he throws it out of bounds. Apparently, everybody, even our coaching staff, apparently learned right there that that's intentional grounding. Because he wasn't the quarterback. He didn't take the ball. He didn't take the ball from center there, so you can't do that. And we lose it down, and we end up backing it up. And McPherson, who we said he wasn't going to be kicking that long of field goals, and I'm glad to see McPherson back. He's been fighting, but definitely looked like he lost some weight. Like he looks like he's he looks like he's been struggling with everything that he has been. So he looked frail out there, but and he's he misses his first kick of his college career because we were talking before the game about not putting him out there from that far, and just a bad play call kind of put us in that position. And I'm sitting there thinking, here we go. We missed a field goal. We probably should have just kept running the ball and scored here, or at the very least, we made the situation a lot harder on ourselves than we had to. And it just felt like this was the moment. I mean, you go back to Missouri, Towns Magoo misses that field goal, and then that's when it started. I mean, it was the same exact thing. And you just felt like, all right, here we go. We should be winning that game. At that point, we should have been winning probably 27-10, and at least 24-10 at that point in time. And then, so I just felt like, oh boy, here it is. And despite all that, this team buckled down and said, no, not tonight. We're not doing that tonight. We're going to get off the field on 3rd down. And let's talk about that real quick, Blake. The 3rd downs, 8 of 14. Auburn was 8 of 14. Kentucky was 4 for 12. Between that and Auburn running for 326 yards compared to Kentucky 70, that's where the ball game was won, man.
I'll tell you this, too. DJ Durkin brought pressure last night. DJ Durkin brought pressure. And I know part of that was probably because we didn't believe that Kentucky could beat us down the field. We didn't think that Kentucky's quarterback situation was any better than ours. Like I said earlier, I think it's actually worse than ours right now. It looked like a lot of 2023 Auburn last night. Just a rotation of QBs, and neither one could find a hot hand. I think both QBs are not very good, but and I said that when we did the preseason ranking of quarterbacks, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's a loss in Lexington." I said, "Is it though?" Because Brock Vandergriff, I just don't think he's better than Peyton Thorne. And I had Kentucky fans, "Oh, you're crazy. You'll see. We'll come back to this. We'll come back to this episode." Well, we can venture back to it because he's not. He's just not good. All right. And I just felt like last night Stoops couldn't find it, Dustin. I felt like Vandergriff would move the ball a little bit and get a 1st down, and then here would come the other quarterback. And it was just a constant rotation. They would pick up a 1st down, and then here would come Vandergriff again. And it was really weird how they were working it. But I feel like Durkin, he kind of smelt blood in the water, man. He was that great white last night, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna send the house, bro. I'm tired of rushing 3, dropping 8." And I know even in the game day group chat last night, it was like 3rd and 9 for Kentucky, and we were sitting here, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's about to bring 3," and he brought 4, and we were like, "Hey, that's a start, it's a start." So I feel like DJ, he did his job. He was in his bag last night. Great calls from Durkin, and just keep letting him get his guys in here that fit this scheme on defense, man. I really feel like Auburn's defense can be hell for years to come with these cats we've got on there. These babies are really, really talented. And I have fun, man. I have fun watching Caleb Harris play football. I just think the way he brings it. Last night, there was a little swing pass out into the flat. He read it. He come up. He made the hit, like kept it to a 2-yard gain. I haven't seen that out of Auburn DBs in a hot minute, man, to come up and make a play. You're one-on-one in the open field, and you minimize the gain to 2 yards, and you make it 2nd and 8. Like, those are the things, as a true freshman, he's already making those plays. I'm excited for the future of this Auburn defense, Dustin.
Yeah, DeMarcus Riddick just missed on a couple of big plays, too.
He's going to be a dog, too.
Yeah, so it's really exciting watching all these guys running around out there. Looking at the offensive side, Peyton Thorne, but we're talking about the whole team bouncing back. Peyton Thorne, rough start, throws that pick. You're thinking, oh my God, dude. And from that moment on, it was damn near perfect. Robert Lewis had a big third down catch at the sticks to keep it moving. Like, just everybody, man, just from that point on, like playing clean, efficient football for the most part. We got to figure out this kick return situation and a punt return situation. I don't know. Let's just I don't know.
Just down it.
Yeah, just down it because it's not working. We're getting penalties every damn time.
Just fair catch the punt.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not muffing it, Blake. Knock on wood. I'm glad that we're not muffing it. But when Keontae finally busts a big one and you got a block in the back, you probably would have been able to make that return without anyway. So yeah, and then the kick returns, it's just time after time. But other than that, man, that's stuff that I would like to see us get cleaned up. But like you said, man, it's young guys, and you can see them growing up last night.
100%. The other thing that I want to get cleaned up is whatever keeps happening at the end of the first half has got to stop. And hey, this is a victory pod, y'all. This is a victory pod. So I want to keep, I want the positivity to go through the roof. But what happened last night, right before the half, we're in a 10-10 game. We get the ball coming out of half. So if we don't put 6 up, I'm not mad. Just give me 3. That's all I want. Just give me 3. Give me something positive going into the locker room. Give me points going into the locker room. So we get a big first down. We move the chains. There's 25 seconds left, 23 seconds left on first down, and we run the football.
Yeah.
We run the football. We burn a timeout. Our final timeout with what?
Hey, it was at 18. I made a note of it because it was literally the exact same moment as the Oklahoma game happened.
Yeah, 18 seconds. So we burn our final timeout. Bang. So now you have to work the sideline or take shots into the end zone. That's you limited yourself right there. And then if you take a sack, it's over with. You're not getting it off. And if you do get it off, it's the same thing as who? Oklahoma, where you're rushing your field goal unit. It's fire, 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 fire. Everybody get out there. You get out there, your snapper, he's having trouble finding the ball and everything. And it was just a mess. I don't put it on those kids, all right? This is a problem that we've had all year, and we got to get it cleaned up. Clock management before the half and at the end of games is crucial, especially when you keep shooting yourselves in the foot over and over and over again. And it just felt like last night when this happened, Peyton takes that sack, and I'm like, no shot, We also got beat at the point of attack on that play, and I don't put that sack on Peyton Thorne. I don't think it was his fault at all. But it's stuff that can't happen. It can't happen. You got to get points, especially when you're playing. Just think of when we're playing Texas A&M, okay, or Alabama. You want those 3 points going into the locker room. I want to have that momentum going into the half. So we got to get that cleaned up. Other than that, Flu Game Freeze was on point last night. I felt like he was having a little fun calling plays with the way Jarquez was getting in his bag. It was an all-around fun night.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to touch on it real quick and give my thoughts on it. Kyle says last play of the first half was on PT. He did the thing he could not do in that situation. Should have thrown it into the stands. So, yeah, I'll just get my brief thoughts on it, and then we'll kind of get back to talking about the win. But my problem with it is, Kyle, is that you saw it versus Oklahoma already. That's my issue with the whole situation. Like, you already made this mistake before. Me and Blake were texting each other on when we made the final timeout, saying, like, no, because now you're putting yourself in a situation where you can't take a sack, and it just gets frustrating when you've already done this one time. And I know you want to get a touchdown there. I just play for the field goal, man. Be smart. Take that 13-10 lead, and you score 13 unanswered. Then you come out and the start of the second half, you go on a long drive, and you end up scoring. That could have been 10 points. That could have been that bang. And then also on McPherson's field goal, he would have made it if you didn't have the intentional grounding, right? Like, we feel like he would have made it if it was a little bit up close. That's a 44. It's a tough ask for him considering his situation last night. But I'm confident he would have made it if it wasn't for that intentional grounding. So there's points right there where it's just like coaching wise, we could have avoided that. So like, yeah, PT should have thrown it out of bounds. My pushback on that is you should have not put him in that situation without a timeout in your back pocket. What if it's a low snap? Like there's so much that can go wrong in that moment that it causes you to not get points. I just like to have that timeout right there. If you're going to go big when you got the first down, if you're going to go big for the end zone, you get the first down, run up there, run the shot play, or spike the ball, waste 2-3 seconds on that. But like keep that timeout for that sack scenario that took place. That way you still come out of there with a 3. And that's my frustration with it, Kyle, is that again, it's the same exact thing you did versus Oklahoma. And I promise you, I'm not gonna share our text online. Me and Blake said, like, we text each other at that moment and said we're not gonna get any points here. Like it's just that part of it is really frustrating, and it's gotta get cleaned up because, like Blake said, you're gonna go into games versus Alabama and A&M where I think Auburn is gonna be in those ball games. I do.
Yep.
I think Auburn's got 4 dog fights left. I don't like. This is what's going to be. And in those 2 games, you can't get away with this. And you're lucky you haven't been able to get away with it at any point this year up until now.
My thing is, Dustin, is if you're going to run the ball there, then just stay with the run and line it up for McPherson and just take the 3. If you're going to burn that timeout, then just run it, call the timeout, run it again, get up, have the field goal team ready, kick it, or whatever. If you run it, don't use the timeout. You run it down, you run it down to about 15 seconds, run another play, you line it up, then burn your timeout with about 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left, call timeout, kick the field goal. Yeah. I felt like running the ball there, that was basically just saying, hey, we're playing for a field goal. And then when you burn the timeout, I was like, what are we doing? All right. If you choose to run the ball in that situation, you're just saying, hey, let's take the 3 and get out of here. Let's run it down to about 15 seconds, run another play, run it down to about 3 seconds, call a timeout. Instead, it was just a complete disaster. Once again, just you not understanding the moment. And like you said, putting your quarterback in that situation. Yeah, PT should know that he can't take a sack, but when your left tackle gets beat like that, I mean, what chance did Peyton Thorne have on that play? When you turn that back on, there was nothing he could do. I mean, he didn't even have a second to throw the football, y'all. So it's just you put your guys in a bad situation there. And we got to get Hugh to, in my opinion, that's the one thing he's got to clean up the most right now, is because it's been happening all year where you've had the same situation occur at the end of halves.
Yeah, I agree with you, Blake. I mean, I'm glad that we were able to come out. Here's what I will say. I did like this. That third quarter, I could tell what they talked about on the offensive side of the ball at halftime. They said, hey, these boys don't want to tackle 27. They don't. Let's hand in the ball. I think he touched the ball 11 times in the third quarter. And, it's fun watching him just kind of turn some of those runs into 3 or 4 yards longer than they should be just by moving his legs. And we kind of make the jokes about him doing the squats in the cowboy boots. He squats 500 pounds plus in his cowboy boots. And it's been, it's a little thing or whatever. But, like, you saw it. You saw why on the field last night. That's what that can do. Mm-hmm. Just moving bodies, moving the chains, keeping the sticks going forward, man. And Jarquez is a vintage Jarquez performance, like the best performance of his career, obviously. Really, really proud to see it. Here in a second, we'll give out the game ball, and I think we all know who it's going to be. Thomas is in here. He says, War Eagle from work, y'all. Appreciate you, Thomas. I'm glad that you're at work, being able to enjoy that victory today, man. Daniel says, next year, Perry will start KLS in the spot. For sure. I think we all would like to see Perry more. But, I have no complaints about the receivers last night. They were efficient. KLS was efficient. A very, very nice play down there in the end zone. It felt good to see us connect on that route and that particular play.
Why KLS chose Auburn, I'll never know. But, brother, I'm thankful for you because Five's a hooper. He's a dog. He's a go-getter, man. I'm thankful he chose us, and he is one of those guys that he is going to bring it. And I questioned the other night, who truly loves Auburn? And KLS has been here for 8 games.
Yeah.
And I can say I think we got a guy that's a grad transfer, and he truly loves Auburn because he brings it every single Saturday. I feel like Jeremiah Wright, I want to give him his props for just being a dog, man. Just being a dog. Getting injured early and still continuing to play. One of our best guys on that line, just week in and week out, continuously bringing it for the Auburn Tigers. Jarquez Hunter, we know what he did. Keldrick Falk, have fun because we're going to get one more year of him. And whatever we have to do to recruit him back on our team, if that becomes an issue, we got to do whatever. The bag is endless. So
he's earned a raise. He's earned himself a nice little raise.
He has earned himself an NIL paycheck because he is an NFL player, y'all. The guy's going to be playing on Sundays, and I think the secondary is growing up. Kayan Lee, just seeing the smile on his face. I've heard a couple people say that, you know, I'm in a text message with a couple buddies, and they're like, "Oh, well, he regressed." You know, just seeing him making that play, really, really fun to watch. Auburn have fun last night, getting to see Jarquez cut a backflip as time expires, and these kids just celebrate one time because these kids could have give up. They could have packed it in and said, "Hey, look, we suck. We're just not winning." Especially the way the Oklahoma game went. Especially the way you blew it against Missouri, you could have gave up. And we didn't. And we showed some fight. So I'm proud of them.
I think that Hugh Freeze told KLS, hey, if you come to Auburn, I'll improve your draft stock.
And he did.
And he did. And then now you're going to take that right to the trail. And it's going to pay off that way too. So, and I think Hugh Freeze has a long history of doing that with wide receivers. So, yeah, man, I'm excited to see it. And let's do it again, Hugh. Let's get if there's another guy out there in the portal you think you can do something similar with, let's do that again. Brett says, Pops, we ran the damn ball. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We would have took a win any kind of way. I really didn't care if we came out of this thing with a 3-2 dub like we talked about last week. But as an Auburn fan, Blake, I'm never, ever going to complain when a running back goes for 270.
You know, I think it's kind of painful too because over the summer and at SEC Media Days and in fall camp, Hugh told us that we were going to run the football. We were going to lean on the run and everything. And then you see a performance like this from Jarquez, and you immediately go back to 3rd and 4 against Oklahoma. And you're like, man, why are we not running the ball? You told us that we were going to run the football, Hugh. But guess what? The best thing about it is Hugh Freeze told us, I'm going back to my old ways. I'm tired of coaching the NIL way. I'm tired of being soft on these cats. I'm going back to who I used to be, and I'm going to demand certain things from my team. And the man, look, I give him his props last night. He was sick as a dog, said he was going back to his old ways, caught the flu, Pepto-Bismol, whatever. He had to stay on that Pedialyte and a steroid shot, but he found his way to Lexington last night. And you could tell he was having trouble with the way he was walking, and he was extremely dehydrated, but he was there. He showed up, and he coached one hell of a game last night. And I want to see more of 27. We don't have him for much longer, but I want to see more of him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got 5 more games of it, or what? 4. Let's use the kid. Let's use him. Daniel says, I like how they stuck to what worked. Yeah, man. No reason to get too cute. The couple of times we did try to get cute, it didn't work. Just turn around, hand the ball off to 27. And shout out to Damari Austin, man. We were all over Damari for his fumble troubles, and I'm not going to apologize for that. You got to hold on to the ball. But he's been holding on to the football lately. He's been running the ball really hard. When he leaped over the dude, I text Blake, and I was like, I don't really give a shit about sportsmanship here. I want to see Damari punch it in.
Yeah.
And I knew we were going to kneel it out. But, yeah, man, Damari ran the rock hard last night, and that was fun to see.
I tell you, too, one thing that I've really liked for Auburn, especially last night, is we've slowly started getting our running backs into the passing game.
Yeah.
Getting them out in space, getting them the ball with a chance to make a play in the open field. Damari Alston, I feel like when he gets out in space, he's that type of back that he can run around you or he can run through you. And I love the force that he brings at the point of contact. And yes, he has kept hanging on to the football. And I feel like he made that a big emphasis on a part of his game. And hey, you're starting to even get Jeremiah Cobb a couple carries. I know he didn't have a lot of success last night, but you get him in there, you get him 3-4 carries, and you show a different look while Jarquez is catching a breather. So I do want to see Cobb more on the outside a little bit though. Maybe keep running them sweeps with him and stuff, and getting him in the screen game and things like that. But I like how Auburn mixed it up last night, and it was a damn good showing from the running backs.
Yeah. When you talk about the running backs improving in the pass catching game, that was one we talked about when Derek Nix was hired, right? We talked about maybe he had the ability to improve the running backs in the passing game, and I think you're seeing that. I think Jarquez he's been sure-handed this year out the backfield. He's catching the balls, and he's just finding ways to use his talents, use his abilities to move the sticks. Brett agrees with me. He says, "I really wanted that last TD. Kind of wish they had nailed it." Listen, we could this could have easily been a 41-10 score. Like
Yes.
we beat the hell out these boys, dominated this football game, and I agree with you, Brett. I would have just punched it in, but
I think the reason Auburn didn't is because I think he's got respect for Stoops,
yeah,
and he just kind of said, "Hey, look, let's get out of here, man. This has been, I mean, he probably had to go take." He probably had to go take care of some business. All right,
right.
that he was clenched up all night. All right, he was struggling over there. I mean, you looked over there; he was sweating bullets. He had to go take care of some business. So he said, "Hey, let's nail this thing out,
Yeah.
and let me get in there and do my thing." So yeah,
he,
proud of the team, man.
he was probably worried too. Like, no, we're gonna fumble the ball if I try this, and they're gonna pick it up and scoop and score and get the onside kick, and here we go. I got a
Get
dub.
me,
I'm getting out of here with a dub.
get me out of here.
Yeah, but Brett also comes back and says, "War damn fam, huge relief, weight off the shoulders, feels good. It does, man. Fan base needed it. The team needed it. Jarquez doing the backflip, Cam Coleman just jumping up and down, just screaming with joy, excited, and I love seeing that from a guy that had like 4 catches, 30 yards, didn't have a big night or nothing. He did help though. He definitely helped keep the chains
Yep.
moving and everything like that. Even though it was a quiet night statistically, to see a guy like that who's used to being the guy just excited to get a win, it kind of feeds into what we talk about. These young cats, man, they just want to win games.
How about his celebration when Jarquez scored on that one touchdown?
Yeah.
Cam Cam was looking to block, and then he sees Jarquez get across the goal line, and I mean he just starts dancing and throwing his hands and everything. And so like they're still having fun, man. Like they're still competing and they're still enjoying it. You see the post game locker room celebration was really fun to see that these guys were going live on Instagram and having a good time and smiling. That's the joy of sports. And every week in football, it's the ultimate team game, and you get to go out and compete and give it another go. And hey, you went and locked the gate, you threw away the key, and you picked a fight and you won. So now you get to come back home. Finally, after a month, you get to come back home. And I can go ahead and tell you that Jordan-Hare Stadium is going to be absolutely rocking at 11 a.m. Saturday. It's going to be absolutely rocking. It sucks that this game's not at night, because I feel like if it was at night, boy, I would be there if it was at night. But I feel like that'd be a hellacious atmosphere. And I know it's Vandy, but that Pavia treatment, we got to get that get back, Dustin. This team's going to be fired up.
Yeah, and you're playing a good Vanderbilt team that you got to respect, but you also feel like you got a chance to win. Now you've seen the ball go through the hoop. You got a little positivity. You know you can do it. You can say, hey, it's going to be a dogfight, but we know how to pull out dogfights now. Turn the ball, snap the ball, turn around, hand it to 27. That's all you got to do.
Who was it? Was it Jalen that said, or Eugene, if we get one, watch out?
Yeah.
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 Watch out.
Yeah, you got to feel that way. You've been there all year. You've been blown out one time.
Yep.
Devin says, "War Eagle fam, so fun celebrating a win." It's great. It's great. Everyone
Yep.
just I woke up this morning and just yeah, man. Like let's go, dude. Let's go. Kyle says come back from -10 to dominate, control the game with confidence and composure. Absolutely, buddy. It's good to see, and we're playing more freshmen than any other team in the country.
Yep.
So it's like, and I'm not going to get off this big long thing, but I'm watching that Nebraska game versus Ohio State yesterday, and I'm like, I know that's a tough loss, but if I'm Nebraska,
Yep.
I'd feel so good about the future of my program. All those young guys are playing. A young freshman there at quarterback, hanging in there with Ohio State. They're 5-3. So you see some of these young teams, man, with good coaches, Matt Rule, Hugh Freeze. You're building, and look, we know that Auburn shouldn't be 3-5. We like conservatively, Auburn should be 5-3. But all you can do is take those lessons and learn from them. And I'm not
Yep.
saying that next year will be 2004, but you can go back in 2003. A lot of close losses. That 2003 team came into the season. I believe it was Athlon had a preseason pick to be number one, and back then the Athlon magazine preseason pick was a big deal.
Yep.
We were waiting the day that it dropped to go get your Auburn cover edition, and Blake, I lived in Florida, so there's the Florida State and the Florida Miami ones. I would drive up we would go when I'd go up to visit my mom in Bruton. That's when I'd get the Auburn edition from the Walmart or the Walgreens up there. But
Yeah.
that team, man, they had a lot of close losses in 03. They tried to fire Tubbs, Jetgate, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
They used those lessons from 03, all those tough losses they had, and propelled them forward in a lot of close games into an undefeated season in 04. I'm not saying this team is there, okay? Like that team had 5 first-round picks on it. I'm not saying that next year will be 04, but that's just an example of you can take these lessons. There's nothing you can do. We can't erase Cal. We can't erase Arkansas. Oklahoma's forever going to be one of the most painful losses. Missouri probably pissed me off more than any Auburn loss has in a very long time. Like, you can't do nothing about those. But what you can do is you can take those lessons and you can learn from them. Caleb Harris still has a whole lot of football ahead of him to play. Faustin, Reddick, Coleman, all these guys still got a whole lot of football ahead of them to play. Braden Joyner. Shout out to my dude, Braden
Yep.
Joyner, man. I'm so proud of that freaking kid. Y'all can take these lessons moving forward in the rest of your career, and next you can finish this year strong, and then next year say, hey, let's go. And let me tell you something, Blake. I want to get a bowl game because I want us to the 6-6 mark and all that. I want them bowl practices.
Yeah.
I want them bowl practices, and I think this team, man, you got, like I said, you're gonna have to be in 4 more dogfights. Can you win 3 of them?
I think you can.
Yeah, I do too.
I think you can scratch them out. You got a taste. You got a taste last night of what winning feels like. I think you can. I think Auburn can beat Vanderbilt, y'all. I keep hearing a lot of people just count it as a loss. And the more I watch this Auburn team and their defense, I feel like Auburn can have some success against Vanderbilt. It's at home. I just think that this team is going to be fired up for Pavia as well. Like, they're going to want to beat Pavia because they're tired of hearing the jokes from last season about New Mexico State. This is going to be an absolute dogfight Saturday. I think Auburn, if they beat Vanderbilt, look, South Alabama waxed Louisiana Monroe last night.
They did.
So I think you can get one there. That's 2. That'll get you to 5. Now you just gotta slay a dragon of Texas A&M or Alabama. And if I had to pick out of one of the 2, you know who I'm picking. So,
yeah, boy. Yeah, we talked about this before we hit record. If Auburn can win these next 2 games, very possible. So you just say, let's just be conservative here. Let's not book too hard. Say you lose a close game to A&M. That puts you at 5-6 going into Bryant-Denny, a team that has shown that you can run the ball on them at times. They'll give up big plays, and it sure would be sweet. That sure would be sweet. Daniel says Auburn plays basketball today. Yes, sir. Got the exhibition. We are about to start cranking out the basketball content for you guys. I'm excited to see this team. This basketball season is going to be fun. The non-conference schedule in itself is going to be must-see TV just about every night. Devin says, I really hope that Hugh Freeze finally learned his lesson and keeps running Jarquez. And let's move this forward, Devin. I hope that Hugh Freeze has learned his lesson. And next year, whether it be Alvin Henderson or Jeremiah Cobb or Damari Alston, if they're doing these kind of things, yes, Hugh. isn't winning so much more fun? And listen, I get it, man. Everybody has their preferences. I know Hugh wants to sling the ball all around the yard. That's how he wants to win. But I got news for Hugh Freeze. The way we won the ball game last night is how Auburn fans want to win.
Facts.
That's like it's in our DNA, man. That was so damn fun.
I had a guy on TikTok comment, and he was like, "Well, I want one of them 1,000-yard receivers," and I was like, "I want wins."
Right.
The hell with a 1,000-yard receiver, bro. I can go. We won a national championship without a 1,000-yard receiver. So I don't give a damn about no 1,000-yard receiver. I give a damn about some wins. And me and my dad were talking about this last night. I like to think back and remember of Kenny Irons getting off the bus and saying, "Hey, I'm going for 200." That's what last night felt like.
Yeah,
is you kept getting up off the couch going, "Man, feed him, give it to him again." And every time Jarquez would go out, you'd be like, "All right, one carry for Damari or Cobb and get right back in there 2-7. All right, feed him again. He's a workhorse." It just, you had that feel, and that's Auburn football. What have we always done? We've always ran the ball, ran the rock. 4th and 1, you need a yard. Auburn can get you that yard. I like watching Auburn pound the rock, Dustin. That's how we've always won games. That's how we always will win games. That's our identity.
I think the first drive of that second half, I think that just broke the will of the Kentucky defense. Yeah. That's what running the ball down somebody's throat will do. It'll break their will, and that's why I'm going to continue to be so hard on the screw up at the end of the first half, because then you have that drive and you're taking a 10-point lead, and it's just like, it just feels like a nail in the coffin the way Kentucky played offense and the way we ultimately went up to finish it off anyway. But yeah, man, when you can run the football like that, we love it. We love it. It's the way that Auburn has built their program. I'm never going to complain about it. So let's get over here, Blake, and this is going to be the easiest one. Look, we don't do player of the games after losses. So, because you don't get a game ball in the locker room after a loss. But when you get a win, look, honorable mention, in my opinion, goes to Keldrick Falk over there on the defensive side of the ball with the 2 sacks. And I think he just was dominant all night, like he continues to be. But this is the most obvious game ball that we may have ever given out on the Up Tempo podcast. The 4th largest rushing output in a single game in Auburn history. And boy, we've had some running backs. Y'all know the names. Yep. So for Jarquez to be on that list, to finally have a signature night that he can hang his helmet on again, that we'll never forget, just based off of his performance alone, 23 carries, 278 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He could have carried the ball, it felt like, 10 more times, Blake. He would have ran for 350 or something. Yep. Just hell of a night from our guy, man. I'm so freaking proud of Jarquez Hunter, everything he's been through in his Auburn career, on and off the field. He's stuck by us. Teams have tampered with him, trying to get him to come to them, and he has stayed loyal to the orange and blue. And just to see him have this night, man, and he's been one of those guys. And I'll go back. This is when I fell in love with Jarquez Hunter. It wasn't the big 90-something yard run, his second game at Jordan-Hare, all that. It was when he was on the fireside with the guys last year over at the Warport. And they went around the fireside chat there, and they asked everybody around the fire, "What's your why? What is your why?" And every running back gave their why, and they had some emotional reason. And I'm not, great. That's great. I would have a personal emotional reason for my why too. So I'm not knocking it. And then Jarquez said, "I just like football. I just love running the football down people's throat." I was like, okay, cool. I like that answer better than all the other ones, man. The dude just loves football, and I think you see it every day. The way he works, he puts in the work, he puts in the time in the weight room. Just moving guys last night, lowering his shoulder and moving guys. And like I said, it's funny to see a guy doing squats in cowboy boots, but that's why he puts in that work, man, so he can take those 3-yard carries and turn those into 6-7-yard carries. And Blake, we've seen in Auburn history, when running backs get hot, you can ride that hot hand. We got 4 games ahead of us that we need to win 3 of, and I think all 4 of them are winnable. Let's ride this hot hand, baby. Let's ride Jarquez in his 4 remaining games as an Auburn Tiger.
Yeah, shout out to the 23 carries, getting Jarquez above 20. And I'll say it more. Give it to him more. All right.
30.
Yeah. Give it to him more. I just the yards after contact and Jarquez keeping his legs moving, man, and picking up first downs last night and bouncing off of dudes and just continuously making plays for Auburn. And this team needed a guy to lean on, and 27's been that dude. And he's a true Auburn man, y'all. I was watching the game with my dad last night, and my dad looked at me and he said, "Man," he said, "we talk about these guys and their love for Auburn, and he said, being an Auburn man, he said, that guy right there is an Auburn man through and through." He said, "We look at Jalen Simpson last year on last year's team, and you say, that's an Auburn man. You look at 27 on this year's team, that's an Auburn man. Tank Bigsby, that's an Auburn man."
Go off, Tank.
Those dudes, they showed their love for Auburn. They stayed with Auburn because they love Auburn. It wasn't hit the portal and go find success somewhere else. It was try to turn Auburn around, and you be that guy. You be that guy when 10 years from now and you come back, these fans are going to give it all to you when Auburn's competing at the highest level. They're going to say, "Hey, Jarquez Hunter, we remember your 200-yard game. We remember those 278, every single yard at Kentucky that night." That's what it's about, man. And his performance last night, it gives this team, this fan base, some hope. And that's why I'm so proud of these dudes. And I'm damn proud, Dustin. The last thing I'll say is I'm damn proud of the crowd that the Auburn Tigers showed up with last night to Lexington, Kentucky. For you to be 2-5 and your fan base show up the way they did. I was sitting there on TV. I was sitting there and I said, "Hey, you can't tell me we don't have the best fans in the country, man. You can't tell me we're 2-5 and we're still showing up like that." It's every year where if Auburn, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, we're not competing at the highest level, we're bad, we still show up every single time. We're still taking 8-hour trips to freaking Kentucky to go watch a ball game that for a team that's 2-5
in the cold.
In the cold, Auburn fans don't give up, man. We're the most faithful people. I saw a meme on Facebook yesterday. I hopped on Facebook to talk a little trash, and it said a guy goes in for a job interview, and he says, "Why should I hire you?" And the guy says, "Because I'm still an Auburn fan." And he said, "Hired." hey, I mean, that's it, 100%, right? So I'm proud of this fan base, proud of this team, proud of the coaching staff, man. It really felt good to get back in the win column, Dustin.
Yeah, it does, man. It really does. So it gives a little bit of hope coming into next week.
Yeah.
Kyle says, "Y'all touch that like button for these guys and their hard work to get our family together, win or loss." I appreciate that, Kyle. Definitely, man. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please hit that sub button. Please hit that thumbs up button if you haven't. The Deuce Night Pod for our members will be dropping tomorrow. Working on some basketball stuff to get out. I want to try to get out 3 pod over the next 7 days, 3 member pods out there for you guys. So look forward to that. Sign up for those memberships if you have not. Would greatly appreciate that, man. We stay building this community. A lot of y'all been asking me what happened to me in the game day group chat. My Twitter got monetized, and I'm still going through the process of getting approved and all that kind of stuff. So it took away my features for a couple of days. I wasn't allowed the DM. They're actually back up and running this morning. Blake's going to add me back in there. People were messaging me like, "Are you and Blake good?" Hey, we're fine. Everything's good, man. Just the Twitter did some goofy stuff, but we're back up and rolling. So I'll be back in there for sure on that. Keeping you guys updated about playoff time here for the high school kids. So we'll get out here, check out our guy Dante Core. He locked up a district title. We know Saraland's, they got their district title locked up out there, Antonio Coleman. So we got playoff time coming around the corner. Going to be excited to get out to these games, keep pumping out the content for y'all. Basketball content coming out for you guys. Saw the baseball team beat Valdosta State yesterday. You know that we stay pumping that out. I think we cover Auburn baseball better than anybody else around here. So, yeah, man, if you're interested in all of Auburn sports, not just football, our memberships is the way to go. Right now, kind of heavy on that recruiting as we wind down the high school season. Get a couple more of these out before we get out of here. Kyle says we're on pace to get 1,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard rusher and receiver, and only go 6-6. That tells me we're so close to getting this thing rolling and building. Yeah, listen, just like look at the way the first half ended last night, Kyle. We kind of had a back and forth, me, you, and Blake, about whose athlete's fault it was. It doesn't matter whose fault it was. Let's just clean that stuff up and find a way to get the 3. Whether it's Peyton Thorne's fault or Hugh Freeze's fault, it doesn't matter. Let's just find a way to turn those situations into at least 3 points. Hell, I wouldn't mind finding a way to score right there, but just if you just get the 3 that you've got in your back pocket, it's just the little things. We clean up those little things, and yes, this program, you can definitely see with the way KLS is playing and the way these young guys on defense are just improving every single game. It's like every game I'm like, all right, Caleb Harris got a little bit better. Malik Bloxton got a little bit better. Like every game, DeMarcus Riddick got a little bit better today. Falston's going to be a dog, man. Falston's going to be a dog. That kid can play. Justin says, did we talk about Cam Coleman knocking that dude's helmet off? Yeah. We gave Cam hell, rightfully so, for the whiff lack of attempt block versus Georgia on 3rd down, kind of left PT out to dry.
Yep.
Didn't play that way last night. He was fully engaged. I think he's getting back healthy, too. I think that shoulder was kind of messed up. But, yeah, man, Cam played physical last night, and I know that his stat sheet was quiet. And I know that Cam Brown's stat sheet was quiet. Robert Lewis' stat sheet was quiet, but they all made big plays when they had to be made. I mean, Peyton Thorne had 1 incompletion, I believe. I might be wrong on this. I think he had 1 incompletion after that interception. Like from that point forward, it was go. So that's shout out to the receivers, shout out to Peyton, everybody for making that a thing. Jonathan says, I'm waiting for the Harsin tweet since we won last night. Oh, he's gonna be quiet, Jonathan. You know how it goes. These people like to come out whenever it's convenient. There's a whole crowd last night that had nothing to say of Auburn fans that had nothing to say last night, and that's why me and Blake are always going to try to keep it fair. That's why we don't really push the agendas. We talk about the product on the field. And last night, who shut them up, baby? Turn around and hand that ball to 27. Get out of Lexington with a big time dub. It's an SEC road win. I know that we're a better team than them, Blake. It's an SEC road win.
Yeah, forget Harsin and let him focus on Boise State and the season that they're having. They're probably going to get into the playoffs, and everybody keeps screaming about their running back being the Heisman Trophy winner and all this stuff. Blah 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 blah. They're going to get absolutely demolished if they get into the college football playoff. And I don't know. I just feel differently about Genty and the Heisman. I just like a G5 guy getting the Heisman is just kind of weird to me. But let Brian Harsin focus on that. I don't care to see your tweets about Auburn. Look, we gave you your money. Go up to Idaho, sit on your lake, and do whatever, man. Like I really do not care about potato famine.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on the sidelines. And there's a reason why he's on the sidelines. And I see a lot of people comparing Hugh's start to Harsin's start in records and saying, well, what's the difference? The difference is one of them tries in recruiting, which will ultimately help turn the program around, you would hope. At least it gives you hope that it will. And the other guy didn't even know he was standing next to Ryan Williams for 15 minutes and didn't say a word to him.
One guy also inherited the 12th overall pick in this past season's NFL draft and won him a lot of games just back there running around and playing backyard football. And the other guy inherited TJ Finley and Robbie Ashford. And, I had to go get Peyton Thorne out of the portal. So, there you go.
Yeah, he's irrelevant. And, so big dub last night, man. We love it. Yeah, we don't care about him no more, Devin, but he keeps talking about us every time. Every time we lose, Harsin has something to say. So, it's just kind of funny that every time we lose, he has some kind of cryptic tweet about Auburn, but he's real quiet whenever we win. That's the point being made there. We just want to let our haters know that we see y'all. That's all that is, Devin.
Dustin, I want to answer this one real quick. I am in Mobile, Jonathan. How's Viger football? My nephew plays in them in 2 weeks, playoffs. Jonathan, tell your nephew to strap up. All right. It's gonna be a dog fight.
They're playing Saraland?
No. They're playing Viger. Viger and Saraland.
That's what I'm asking. Saraland's playing.
No. They're in 2 different classifications.
Okay,
I think Viger. I think Viger now is 4A, if I'm not mistaken. They might be 5A. I can't remember. They change up so much every 2 years.
March every year in Florida.
But I think they're 5A. I can't remember. But Viger is really good, man. That defense is absolutely nasty. They're really fast. I know they were having some injuries at quarterback earlier in the year, but I guess they got it figured out because they absolutely spanked Williamson the other night. I think they beat him like 19-2 or something like that. So, yeah, they're dominant, man. And Viger football goes all the way back into the 80s with Electron Williams and them being the national champions at the high school level and being considered one of the greatest high school football teams of all time. So, unfortunately, Electron got up to Auburn and blew his knee out and stuff. And, back then when you go through all of that, it wasn't like you just bounce back in 4 months like it is today. So, Viger football, man, they're always repping for the PA, Pritchard, Alabama. And, yeah, good football team.
Yeah, absolutely. Playoff time right around the corner for high school. We got one more regular season week here in Florida. I know that Dante Core and Choctaw, they're going up to Enterprise, which is an interesting game. They'll be playing that before they get ready for their playoff run. So me and Blake got y'all covered, man. As these playoffs go, I'll be locking down this Pensacola area, Blake, the Mobile area.
Yep.
We're excited to do it. Smash that like button, y'all. Sub to the channel. Sign up for these memberships. We're doing big things over there. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming in here. Big time win, Blake. The Auburn family needed this one. We needed this one bad. It's War Damn Eagle, baby. And we're going to see y'all Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
War Damn Eagle. Let's go get another dub next Saturday, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go.